Most political rebellions begin when people stop believing in the leader. This one began because they still believe in her. Here is the question everyone is asking about Trinamool Congress right now. Will the party split? Wrong question. Here is the actual question. How do you rebel against a party while insisting you still support the person who built it? Because that is exactly what is happening in West Bengal right now, and it is stranger than it sounds. The story officially begins with a signature, but the signature is not the story. The signature is the crack through which we can finally see the story. After TMC's election defeat, the party needed to formalize its assembly leadership. A resolution was circulated. Signatures were collected. Sovandep Chattopadhyay was declared leader of opposition. Then two MLAs, Ritabrata Banerjee and Sandeepan Saha, made a serious allegation. They claimed that several signatures were not signatures at all. Block letters, printed names. They claimed an attendance register had been converted into a political resolution. Without proper approval, without proper consent. CID got involved. Questions reached Abhishek Banerjee. And then something happened that changed the entire story. Within hours of the controversy exploding, both MLAs were expelled. 6 years, immediate effect. And that is usually where these stories end. This one was just beginning. Because a few days later, Ritabrata Banerjee walked into the assembly. Not alone, with numbers. A lot of numbers. The rebel camp submitted a letter to the speaker. Signed, they said, by 58 MLAs. 58 out of 80. More than 2/3 of the entire legislature party. And then came the most remarkable part. These MLAs were not backing TMC's chosen leader of opposition. They were backing Ritabrata Banerjee, the same man TMC had just expelled. Today, Ritabrata has been recognized as leader of opposition by the speaker, a direct challenge to the party leadership. But here is the contradiction. The same letter that challenged the leadership reaffirmed Mamata Banerjee as the leader of the party. They want to remove the leadership, not the leader. And that is where this story becomes fascinating.
3 numbers, not 58. 8. When Mamata held her first public rally after the election loss, her dharna at Rani Rashmoni Road, 8 of 80 elected MLAs showed up. 60. When she called an emergency MLA meeting at her own residence, 60 of 80 did not show up. 3. Of the few MLAs who did attend Mamata's dharna, 3 had also attended a legislative meeting organized by Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari. Think about that. Some MLAs skipped Mamata's meeting. Some attended Suvendu's meeting. Some did both. That is not defection. Defection is simple. This is something else. This is hedging. And when politicians begin hedging, it usually means they are no longer certain where power will eventually settle. Here is what I think most people are missing. This revolt is not really about Ritabrata Banerjee. It is not really about signatures. And it is not really about the leader of opposition. The deeper conflict appears to be about the system that emerged around Mamata Banerjee, specifically around Abhishek Banerjee's growing influence inside the party. Or more precisely, the model he represents. Centralization. IPAC running everything. Top-down decisions. Corporate management of what was always a street-level party. The rebels aren't saying, we reject Mamata. They are saying, we reject the system that claims to speak for Mamata. And here is why that distinction matters. Because when a party remains in power for 15 years, people learn to stay quiet. The cost of dissent is too high. The day power disappears, that calculation changes. Suddenly, every unresolved grievance surfaces at once. Not because the problems are new, because the fear is gone. Which may explain why TMC has now dissolved all its committees, all its frontal wings, everything. A party does not dismantle its own organization when it is confident. It does that when it believes the organization itself has become part of the problem. And that leaves Mamata Banerjee facing an impossible choice. Because the rebels have something important, the numbers. Mamata has something even more important, legitimacy. Neither side can win without the other. The rebels do not want to leave TMC. They do not want a new symbol. They do not want a new party. Because they understand something. Without Mamata Banerjee, they may have the numbers, but they lose the story. They lose the name. They lose the legitimacy. which means this is not really a rebellion against Mamata Banerjee. It is a struggle over who gets to speak in Mamata Banerjee's name. And that may be a far more dangerous crisis than a split. You were watching Fault Lines. I'm Abhijit.